In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at these current conditions. We're going to be diving also into the upcoming big Arctic blast that we have heading into the eastern half of the nation. We kind of see some of that ongoing already, and there is some coastal storms that we're seeing in the near future here for the eastern seaboard potentially. We'll talk about those as well. We're taking a look here at our current radar imagery, and as you can see, there is some interesting weather happening up here in the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and the north central United States, kind of the northern plains up here, including some snowfall there for Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe seeing some there for North Dakota and even the upper peninsula of Michigan. We'll zoom into that area in just a little bit. You can see there is also some storminess happening here in the northeast, mostly New England there actually. It's cut off right on that New York border. We have light to moderate precipitation happening for a lot of these areas. And then we can see some storminess moving across the south there for basically just Florida. We'll take a look here at the westernmost front here of a lot of this storminess out in the west. And as we can see for Montana, down through North Dakota, South Dakota, and even into Nebraska, we do have some lighter showers moving through. They're pretty quick moving there. We did see some snowfall there kind of to the north of Bismarck in North Dakota. So we did see some of that turning into some frozen precipitation, which is some of the first of the year that we've seen really. As we move a little bit further eastward here, we can see that there is mixed precipitation here for the upper peninsula of Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin in here. And Iowa even seeing some snowfall as well. Mostly near Minneapolis and just to the east of Minneapolis is where we saw the most of that snowfall coming down, even north of those regions as well, in Minnesota and Wisconsin. And actually, I want to say this is pretty heavy snowfall as well. The grays are going to be your lighter snowfall, and the brighter the white it gets is going to be your heavier snowfall that's taking place. So likely some pretty darn heavy snowfall that was falling for a lot of these regions. Now, as we head just a little bit further eastward here, mostly for Michigan, we could see more heavy precipitation taking place, but this is pretty much all in the form of rainfall. The upper peninsula of Michigan was seeing a little bit of snowfall earlier on, but that has gone ahead and mixed back over to rainfall as the morning has progressed. Now we're seeing light to moderate rainfall showers moving across both that lower peninsula and the northern peninsula there in Michigan. Now, as we can see, also for New England and a couple of surrounding states, we have some heavier precipitation taking place in here, mostly moving directly northward. This is probably bringing warmer air with it as well, since it's heading northward from the south. We can see that the heaviest of it is going to be for the more coastal regions down there by Boston. We can see coastal New Hampshire, and probably going to be impacting the coast of Maine there with some heavier storminess in for some of those spots. We'll even zoom in here just so that we can see how heavy it is, but definitely looking like some heavier, oranges showing up, even maybe some reds. That was heading through the southern regions here of Massachusetts, even Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard a little bit earlier on. I don't know if I did that in the right order. We could see Providence as well. There in Rhode Island saw quite a bit of this heavier precipitation. And matter of fact, the whole state of Rhode Island did. Now we can see Boston and surrounding regions as well. And basically now it's moved to the north of Boston even, but again, these regions here across the state of Maine, the coastal regions, Portland, and some other coastal spots, definitely going to be seeing some of this heavier precipitation potentially. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do is move on, and we're going to focus in on the upcoming storminess, temperature pattern, and all sorts. Now here we are taking a look at the upcoming storminess and really ongoing storminess as we take a look at this frame, but we can see that we have Arctic blast number 1 that has kind of come through here, and we're seeing colder temperatures around for all of these spots as this Arctic blast has just moved on in, and we can see a lot of this warmer air moving out ahead of it, bringing that precipitation, kind of a very, very minor nor'easter here offshore of the Mid-Atlantic. That's what's bringing a lot of this precipitation to the coastal regions of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast as well. As we keep going with this, we can see that quiets down. We do get a bit of a low developing over the Great Lakes by the time we're reaching early into Saturday tomorrow, and we can see that's going to bring a little bit of precipitation to Indiana and Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan there, but overall a quieter day. And as we keep going with this towards Saturday afternoon, things are quieter, but as we reach Sunday afternoon, we can see some precipitation underneath here. So for Arizona there, New Mexico, in through the south central United States like Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. We see all of these states getting a little bit of precipitation there, especially in the southern extents of those states there. So that's going to be Sunday earlier in the afternoon, and we can see that there is this big Arctic blast about to move down through, and that's really forcing its way down. We see a 995 millibar low pressure center here with a cold front extending down just like this, and this is really bringing a lot of cold air behind it for all of these regions, so it's going to be a big time cool down. The coldest air of the year, I would say, probably is most likely. We have a lot of warmer air shooting north out ahead of that cold front. That's very typical, and this could lead towards some thunderstorm activity out ahead of that cold front. Now, as we can see, by Tuesday, this has fully kind of established itself in the region, in a lot of these regions, and we see a 996 millibar low pressure center. This cold front is now kind of offshore, but we can see exactly where it is. This would give a good opportunity for a nor'easter or a tropical system to move along that cold front, but we do not see this model indicating that happening at all. But typically that would be something you watch for. Wednesday afternoon, that has basically fully moved offshore of the United States outside of southern Florida here, where we do see some of that precipitation with the cold front still on shore. But outside of that, really quiet for the United States. We do have some lighter showers happening here right in the heart of that Arctic blast, I would say. Again, it's going to be Wednesday the 19th. As we reach Thursday the 20th, it's really quiet in the United States, not even anything worth noting for a couple of days here. But by the time we reach Saturday the 22nd, here we could see a lot of storminess moving into the west, as it does appear, according to this model, that we are going to have an Arctic blast now heading into the western United States at the end of the pattern here. And this would allow for some snowfall and some really intense storminess to happen out west. I'm sure a lot of you are cheering for that after the long drought of any rainfall or snowfall, really, or any big storms you guys have had. As we reach well into Saturday here, we could see plenty of snowfall taking place here for a lot of these states. It's going to be Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, Colorado as well. We see plenty of this snowfall taking place. Also, this model is suggesting potentially a bit of a tropical system for the southeast here. Take it with a grain of salt. We are longer in the pattern here, but definitely is something this model is calling for. And then we can see at the very end here, as we're reaching Sunday into Monday, we still have this snowfall taking place for a lot of the mountains out west. And then a bit of a nor'easter / tropical system here taking place for the southeast, the northeast, and the mid-Atlantic. Now, that's the end of the model run, so that's as much as we can get. Again, those last couple things that happen, take it with a grain of salt. It is a bit further out, but definitely going to be a possibility. Let's take a look here at the total precipitation through the next 10 days. And if you're anywhere in the whites, we're taking a look at practically no precipitation. But your grays will be 1/10 of an inch or less. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to 1 inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. And then your reds will be 2 to 5 inches of precipitation here. Now, as far as total snowfall, no surprise here, there's a lot more expected because of that shift of the cold air to the west. So if you're anywhere in the grays here, we see a dusting, if anything. Your blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Your purples will be 6 to 10 inches. Your pinks will be 10 to 20. So we see plenty of that out there for the Rockies, the Cascades, and also in between Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan as well. We even see some pastels in there for a few spots, and that's going to be 20 inches plus. So definitely a lot of snowfall expected over the next 10 days, according to this European model. Very, very interesting. Now, as far as the upcoming temperature pattern, we have one Arctic blast here that's already kind of taken place, but it's pretty more minor, obviously. We can see that there's just some blues and a little bit of greens, but it's much more minor. This next one that's going to roll through, we get another minor one here by Sunday, but it's this one up here that's going to be the more major, impactful one that we're going to see. So as we can see, this one rolls down and we get this deep green temperatures here. According to this model, we even see the blues there within the greens, which is going to indicate 15 to 25 degrees below normal. Definitely a far departure from what's typical. As we keep going here, we see this lasts all the way through Wednesday. The 19th here, we see this deep cold air still in place for all of these states. Again, the greens are going to be very cold, but those blues within the greens are going to be even colder. By the time I reach Thursday the 20th, we still have a lot of this colder air in place for the eastern United States, but it is starting to kind of die down. And something you might notice by Friday the 21st is a lot of this warmer air has shifted towards the central United States. Definitely interesting to see. By the time I reach Saturday the 22nd, we can see cold air establishing itself now for the western United States. Definitely indicating a negative PNA, which would force the warm air to move around this region into the eastern 2/3 of the nation for the most part. So that's going to be the pattern this would support. As we keep going, we see that kind of does happen here. We see primarily warmer air out west, or out east, better yet. I'm so used to saying the west based on what we've had, but really for the east is where we see the warm air head by the time we're reaching the 22nd through the 24th time frame there. And we see a lot of this deeper, colder air moving south into the west. And this is going to, again, bring the possibility for snowfall and, in general, more major storminess for a lot of these regions. Now, that's all I have for this video, guys. I do upload every single day, so be sure to subscribe for those daily uploads and keep up to date with all of our videos here and all of the upcoming weather things that are going to be happening, because we are reaching closer to the winter, so there's going to be more and more interesting things happening as we transition in. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.